start by chopping our sweet potatoes. So we're just gonna chop off the ends like this. And now we can chop off this one's ends. Now let's chop them into chunks. About this big, and just throw them in there. Now let's pour our water over our potatoes, just to cover them. Once they're covered, now let's put on our lid and once it boils, let's cook them for 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, now let's pour our water into a strainer. And there we go. And now let's move on to our next step. Okay, now let's put our sweet potatoes back into our pan. And now let's mash them. Just like this. Just mash them. Now let's move on to our next step. Okay, now let's mix all of our ingredients together, starting with our mashed sweet potato. And just like this. Okay, now let's add our sugar. Then we'll add our evaporated milk. 3 eggs. Our butter. Our vanilla. And now we'll add our cinnamon. And now we can mix this together. Move on to our next step. Okay, now let's preheat our oven to 350 degrees. Okay, now let's add our sweet potato mix into our pie crust. This pie crust is the same type of pie crust from my simple pie crust video. That will be on the icon right here. So let's just pour our sweet potato mix into our pie crust. Just like this. Now let's move on to our next step. Okay, now let's bake our pie at 350 degrees for an hour to an hour and a half. and I'll show you the finished product.
This is our finished product.